Hello everyone, Storm11 here. Today we'll be having an update on a nor'easter that's going to be developing somewhere off the coast of the Carolinas, and as soon as that happens, it'll be rapidly deepening as it moves through the Atlantic Ocean, and there's still some uncertainty where the track is going to be. Could it be further east or it could be further west? Either way, it's going to bring some big time impacts, at least for along the East Coast as well. Could bring blizzard like conditions and also coastal flooding issues as well. Before we get started with this video, if you guys do like weather related content, you can always subscribe to my channel. We'll be having more updates on this system here over the next couple of days. So stay tuned for more updates as well. So we're going to get started with the GFS model, what we got currently going on. We had a big time snowstorm in the parts of Colorado and Kansas. Some of that was a little bit unexpected, and we had a lot of snow there. And if I remember correctly, there was a snowfall report of 30 inches of snow. And that was in the parts of Colorado and western Kansas. That was partially due to a very intense snow band that had occurred out there. So that was very interesting to see that occur as well. So that was a big snowstorm for parts of eastern Colorado and western Kansas as well. And really for the rest of the country, it looks mostly quiet. Looks pretty windy across parts of the northern U.S. as well. You can definitely tell those isobars are close together. Certainly going to make some dangerous wind chills up there as well. So as we kind of continue on here, there's going to be three different pieces of energy come in. Number one, number two, number three will be popping up here. We'll check out the vorticity in a little bit. But this is the latest look at the GFS here. We're not as widespread with the snow here than previous runs out there. It's not going to be as much energy to work with out there. It still shows a big low. However, we have noticed that models are trending a little bit east with this system. Now, could this be a potential trend? Yes. Could it continue to trend east? Yeah, that could be a possibility as well. But could what also be a possibility? It could go back a little further west. We still do not have weather balloon data to these models here just yet, and wherever we could get weather balloon data, it can change what the system could look like and a track of it as well. So that's still something we're still waiting on as well. So there's still quite a bit of uncertainty with the system here, but either way, there's going to be a big system out here. You got a 959 millibar low out there with some intense snow bands in eastern Massachusetts with blizzard-like conditions. It's going to be pretty darn rough out there. And I could go up into parts of Maine as well. But we can also see a decent amount of snow down to parts of southeastern Virginia and even up into northeastern North Carolina as well. Could see a decent amount of snow out of this as well. We'll check out the weather predictors snowfall probabilities here in a little bit. Let's check out the European model, and pretty much similar thing was going to be happening over the next couple of days. And for what I've been told here, this is likely not going to be pretty accurate here. It wants to try to develop two lows for some reason, but with this case here, our low should be right here. It should not have two different lows. Plus, this is only the only model that shows that as well. So for what the European model is predicting, I don't think it's going to happen with two different lows. However, even with still two different lows, it still got some pretty good impacts for parts of the East Coast, especially for parts of Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, up in the parts of Vermont, or I'm sorry, New Hampshire and Maine as well. This is an area I'm really focused on for some of the more extreme impacts here out of the storm. It's right in that red circle, right in there. It's where I'm really focused on for the potential for some significant impacts out of the system. So here's the Canadian model, and it's not as strong in its previous runs, an 80 millibar low, but that's still a pretty strong low when you think about it. Still a pretty strong low. Still shows a pretty good swath of snow out there. Maybe not as much as previous runs, but either way, that's still a good amount of snow out there. It's a pretty decent snow shield out there of what the Canadian model is suggesting. Okay, this is the latest Namm, and you can see here it's pretty far darn to the east. Now, could this be a possibility? Yes, it can be. Right now, it's the only model showing that. Plus, the Namm's been kind of jumping around. It's also not been doing very well last couple of systems, so I may take this as a grain of salt, at least for now, anyway. But if you guys have not noticed already, like I said earlier, models have been trending a little bit eastward with this, with the low track as well. So that still grows some absurdity here for areas a little bit further inland as well, which I know forecasts before it showed a lot of snow for some of those areas, but right now, not so much, at least at this point. Here's the highest Canadian, and you do see here, still got that strong low, pretty good snow band for eastern Massachusetts up into Maine as well. Then again, that's an area I'm really focused on that could see most of the snow than anybody else, at least for right now anyway. So let's talk about the energy. So let's kind of back this up a little bit. So there's going to be three different pieces of energy. So here's your first two. And let's talk about the timing of these arriving in the United States. So our first piece of energy, which will be going down the four corner states, it's right now going through BC and Alberta. It will be arriving in the United States pretty much by tonight. So we should be able to get weather balloon data from that piece of energy. And then our next piece of energy comes in Thursday evening. So here's number two right here. And then our third piece of energy comes in through Wisconsin and upper Michigan by Friday evening. So then again, there's going to be three different pieces of energy coming together into one big piece of energy. That's what's going to be happening here, and that's what's going to cause the storm to be a big storm as well. Now, let's talk about the difference between the GFS and the Namm. So the Namm was further east, right? Well, it's a tad bit slower, but what I've also noticed with the Namm is that it's not as strong with those pieces of energy, especially with piece of energy number 3. It's not as strong with it, but what I do think what could be a factor into it is that the cold air may be a little bit more suppressed, so suppressed that may make the system track a little bit further east, which that happens. But at the same time, though, if your piece of energy is not as strong, the system's not going to be as wrapped up, so it can still move a little further east with it as well. Then again, I think the Namm could be an outlier at least at this time anyway. You know, you never know when the weather balloon data comes in. It could shift it even further east. We'll have to see about that. But then again, here's the difference between the GFS and the Namm. You can see there's definitely a difference there. And then again, two things. GFS is a tad bit faster. It also makes it go negatively tilt a little bit earlier. And then the Namm, it's still neutral tilt and it's not as strong. So there's definitely a difference between those two as well. Here's the tracks with the GFS ensembles, and your mean is right here, which went even further east. But there's still a cluster of models still a little bit on that westward track, so there's still that possibility it could go a little bit further west. Plus, that's a strong mean still. 984 millibars, that's still a very strong mean, especially for this far out as well. So there's still a chance that it could go a little bit further west. Plus, I do think at the same time that the mean is a little bit skewed to the east a little bit as well. And here's the mean snowfall accumulation. So then again, just kind of look at this as a probability map. Don't pay too much attention to the snowfall amounts. So then again, 1 inch snow could be 10% chance of at least getting 1 inch of snow. We'll put it that way. And then 2 inches of snow could equal a 20% chance. And you can see here over the last couple videos, the mean is still continuing to move off to a little bit to the east. So there's still that chance that it could trend a little bit east, but it's hard to say at this point if it will continue with that eastward trend or not. But time would tell on that as well. Let's check out probabilities from the Weather Prediction Center. This is at least 4 inches of snow. And you can see they got pretty high probabilities from southeastern Virginia, northeastern North Carolina, all the way up into eastern Maine. The blue colors is anywhere from a 10 to 40% chance. Green is 40 to 70% chance. And then the red area is greater than a 70% chance. And that's for at least 4 inches of snow, which is a decent amount of snow. What about at least 8 inches of snow? There's still good probabilities out there. And it does have the greatest probability in eastern Massachusetts. That's an area that I'm really focused on for an area that could see most of the snow. And this is at least a foot of snow. There's still a tiny bit of red in eastern Massachusetts, but that's just very small. But even the green areas there, that's still a decent probability as well, 40 to 70% chance. But these probabilities can change as well, since we're still a couple days away from the event as well. One of my biggest concerns with the system here is going to be those winds, and this is what will create the blizzard conditions. This is the GFS model, and you do see here, especially in eastern Massachusetts, the wind goes up to 60 miles per hour. Maybe a little bit overdone, but either way, there's going to be some blizzard conditions out there, so it's definitely going to be rough. Even in the parts of Rhode Island could see blizzard-like conditions, and possibly in the parts of Connecticut. And I could go up into parts of New Hampshire and Maine as well with blizzard-like conditions as well. So it's definitely one of the big concerns. And this can also cause coastal flooding issues as well. Mainly, actually, it may not cause much of a way coastal flooding issues. I think an area that will see major problems will probably along the east coast of Massachusetts here. You can see here the winds are coming from the north, and that's going to push those waters there right against along the eastern coast of Massachusetts. So, yeah, coastal flooding will also be a major issue with this system here as well. And then again, we'll have more updates on this system over the next couple of days. But anyways, guys, this is all for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you do like my channel, hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notifications so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, leave the comment section down below. I'll answer you guys questions, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye, and have a good day.